Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. Cops in TikTok videos facing disciplinary action. A number of cops are now facing disciplinary charges for their alleged involvement in a new social media craze. The number of cops facing charges has not been disclosed by the Jamaica Constabulary Force. The new craze involves video posted on TikTok which appeared to show members of the security forces dressed in their full uniform and armed with assault rifles dancing to background music. One video scene shows two female cops lip-syncing and dancing to a song glorifying violence. Cock and fire, pull a gun like Remington, full charge up eager to kill a man were some of the lyrics in the song. Commissioner of Police Major General Anthony Anderson disclosed yesterday that he has a number of TikTok videos with police personnel. Anderson said this was concerning. When you listen to the lyrics of the songs being played in the background of the video, it wasn't consistent with what we would expect or anyone would expect from our police officers, he said. We also saw that in the videos the police officers had weapons on them, and that's certainly not the image we would expect of our officers, he added, during a virtual press conference. The police chief said in addition to disciplinary action, persons who appeared in videos will have to undergo remedial training if they are going to remain in the organization so that they are aligned in their mindset with the best values of the JCF. He indicated too that the Police High Command has published guidelines in the force orders setting out how the issue will be dealt with going forward. MPs and ministers' reaction after Floyd Green resignation.
No comments. All right.
What about the mood in cabinet? What's the mood like in cabinet, Minister?
Well, I mean, it is, we're not in cabinet, but I guess, everybody is a little bit, feeling a little bit regardless of how we feel. Former Minister Green was a promising, was a very inspiring member of the cabinet. And I'm quite sure that, this is not the end of it, and I'm positive that he will come back.
I think it is a good thing that he has done. The video was really an affront to those Jamaicans who really have been suffering and holding strain under that, so I'm glad that he did the right thing. I wish that all members of parliament, when they have behaved inappropriately, would do the right thing.
I don't think he had much of a choice. I think he had to resign given how egregious that breach was. It's actually a breach of the DRMA, and people have been arrested for doing less than that. We can't operate where we have two Jamaicas, where poor black men are hauled from under the bed, are made to make public apologies, while others can flagrantly disregard the laws. We're already seeing a situation where tourists can come into our country and roam freely, and Jamaicans can't. We'll see a situation where a cruise ship comes into Jamaica and small craft vendors can't participate, but bigger businesses can. We can't operate in a situation where there's one set of rules for one set of Jamaicans and another set of rules for another Jamaicans.
I'm just still trying to process it. It's a significant decision, but I understand the environment it is happening.
How would you rate him as an agriculture minister?
Very good, excellent.
He was a very good minister, but Prime Minister and government have made its decision, so we all have to accord it.
Do you expect him to be back in the future?
I can't comment on that, I don't know.
In terms of the Disaster Risk Management Act, persons have been calling for charges. It is up to the police to do that. What is your take?
It's up to the police to do that. As you have seen, no one is above the law. We all have a responsibility and we need to fulfill it.
I think the police has to do their investigation, but they have to be consistent. Because if they're not consistent, then how are you going to implement the DRMA next time there's a lockdown? The next time there's a lockdown, if somebody breaches it, if you don't take action now, how are you going to enforce it then? And that is the issue that the government and the police has. When people see a flagrant breach like that, they're going to say, well, I'm not going to bother to obey the DRMA. People is not just the restriction on freedom. People are losing their income. You have people who are days worker. who not getting paid because they can't leave the house to go and earn a living. They're struggling, they're hungry, they can't send their children to school. And they're doing it because we're trying to get over this third wave of COVID. And they are making tremendous personal sacrifices. So you can't have one rule for one set of people and another set for a different set. It can't work so. Beyond MP Green and Councillor Bellamy, there are other public officials, people who are paid by taxpayers, who either work in central government or in government agencies, for whom there should be sanctions. The Prime Minister's one of his photographers was in that video, and also an employee of the NSWMA. There should be action taken against them, and if there are other public officials who participated as well. So for me, I don't think he had a choice but to resign.
It's very important that we have accountability where leaders in the society, especially somebody at the level of a minister, is clearly violating the spirit and intent of important rules and norms that are there for the protection of the society as a whole. We need to set a proper example. This is nothing personal against that young man. The situation with the cruise shipping has been handled, and right through to the braffing and the flossing with champagne and a party on a lockdown day, it has to stop. It is eroding the social cohesion, which is absolutely critical to face a national crisis as profound and as difficult as the COVID pandemic. We need everyone pulling in the same direction, and leaders must set an example. And this is why I believe what has happened today was necessary, and the others who were involved should similarly step back.
Chef arrested and charged after stabbing his grandfather to death. A 22-year-old Trelawney chef has been charged with the murder of his 84-year-old grandfather. The deceased has been identified as 84-year-old Minokal Stevenson. Charged is 22-year-old Victor Newman of Wakefield and Quickstep District in Trelawney. It is reported that on the morning of September 11, Newman used a knife to inflict several stab wounds to Stevenson. He was accosted by residents who handed him over to the police. The lawmen said that on Monday, September 13, a question and answer session was conducted in the presence of two justices of peace. Newman was subsequently charged with murder on Tuesday, September 14. Indicom leading investigation in Nsinga King case. The Independent Commission of Investigations Indicom is now leading the probe into the alleged remains of 19-year-old Rastafarian Nsinga King while she was in custody at the Four Pass police station in Clarendon on July 22nd. King has claimed that she was trimmed by a female officer last month while she was in custody at the police station. In a virtual press briefing, Police Commissioner Major General Anthony Anderson said the Jamaica Constabulary Force JCF has turned over all material from their investigation to Indicom and are awaiting their conclusion before taking further action. Indicom wrote last week and asked to turn over the investigation to them. We wait to hear whether or not they recommend criminal charges in the matter or breaches in our own rules and policies, he said, pointing out that the incident was not consistent with the policies of the force or more of its members. Anderson took the time to assure members of the Rastafarian community that they need not to be concerned that the JCF has any challenges with them. Attorney Buchanan, who is representing King, claims that she was assaulted and battered and that the cop ought to be charged. Manchester businessman charged for breaching curfew, gun possession. Manchester businessman 26-year-old Eric Price has been charged with illegal possession of firearm and ammunition and breaching the Disaster Risk Management Act, DRMA. The police say Price, otherwise called Daddy, was seen walking along a roadway on Tuesday morning in Comfort Williamsfield, breaching the no movement day curfew. They say he was stopped and searched. According to the police, a Taurus 9mm pistol with a magazine containing 89mm rounds was seized. Price was arrested and later charged. Gang feuds responsible for most murders committed so far this year, says Anderson. Gang conflict is believed to be responsible for 72% or 714 of the 991 murders committed in Jamaica since the start of the year. This was disclosed yesterday morning by Commissioner of Police Major General Anthony Anderson, who also noted that gangsters are becoming increasingly ruthless. Speaking at a press conference, Anderson said the gangsters are showing a greater willingness to kill family members and associates of their enemies if they are not able to locate their targets. He said sections of Kingston, as well as Clarendon, Westmoreland and St. James, in the earlier part of the year have been identified as the hub of those types of killing. He also noted that violent criminals are not the only ones committing gruesome murders, as 19% of homicides committed to date are as a result of interpersonal domestic violence, some including family members. In outlining that the nation has a serious problem with illegal firearms, Anderson said 853 of the murders occurred with the use of guns, including the 24 homicides recently committed in 1 week. 73,880 children vaccinated against COVID-19. Minister of Education FAYVAL Williams yesterday disclosed that 73,880 students have been vaccinated against COVID-19 to date. In a statement to Parliament yesterday afternoon, Williams noted that of the number, some 22,000 students have received both doses. The government started offering the Pfizer vaccine last month to children 12 years and older. Pfizer is the sole vaccine that has been approved for the use in that age group. Following the suspension of the administration of the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine, Williams urged stakeholders in the education sector to get vaccinated. The suspension is linked to a shortage, and vaccination is set to resume when a shipment arrives from the United States in 2 or 3 weeks. We have a collective responsibility to ourselves and our children to not only steadfastly continue to adhere to the COVID-19 protocols, hand washing, sanitization, social distancing and wearing of masks, but to also make the decision to get the added layer of protection afforded from being vaccinated, Williams said in Parliament yesterday. The Education Minister indicated that a continued priority area for the school year is finding and re-engaging all children in the education sector. She said in the last academic year, 2,300 students were reached through a community mobile intervention and engaged in small groups 3 days per week. The sessions were facilitated by teachers and guidance counselors for 1 hour and 30 minutes each day. To support the mobile intervention, this year we will train and deploy intervention officers to work with schools to go to yard in every community to identify those students who have not been able to reach, to document their circumstances in order to assist parents, the schools and the ministry to intervene so that the children can have that chance that all children in Jamaica must have, that is to be educated, Williams underscored. Meanwhile, the Education Minister said more specialist teachers will be used this academic year in the areas of mathematics and English language. She said this initiative is expected to reduce the gap in performance and significantly raise the level of knowledge among primary school students. Assistant Commissioner of Police Calvin Allen, Area 2 Commander, addressing a group of young people in the informal community of Gaza in Parrytown, St. Anne. The address was part of a walkthrough organized to interact with the citizens and sensitize the youth on the importance of education. 2 tablets were also gifted to 2 needy families during the tour.
You don't need nobody else to come tell you. Education is the surest passport to a good future. Even if you're going to do little construction and the man say, all right, I need X amount of yard of sand and how much cement in order for that mixture to be right, you still have to know something. Else you're going to spoil it. Parents.
Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.